What's going on, y'all? Your boy QP and my pal Heather Hertz here for, I think, the second week. This is our second episode of the year
Is
2025,
this,
Heather.
I don't know, time is a circle and a flat line and the world's about to explode. So you know what?
Right. Yeah. In every way. The year kicked off with cyber truck explosions, evil people with intents in New Orleans. We got fires. We got the election of a evil person again returning. I don't know what's going on with the world, and we're living in ice here on the East Coast. It's horrible. It's horrible. But I say all that to say this: at least we have some good entertainment until we die. Because this week I will put down. I'm very curious, and I'm going to be optimistic to see if there'll be a better week this year.
Okay.
I'm curious with you because I know you haven't. I think you've seen some of these, or maybe not. But um, I think this is a definite thumbs up. I'm gonna tell you already, Heather, before we even get to the ending. I think this is a solid week. Only because I saw two of these last year in awards because they're being in awards contention, and these other two, which I was slightly nervous about because it's the beginning of the year. Usually, the second tier films are what we get at the beginning of the year. Were actually quite decent, and one of them I feel is the best genre film for what that genre is when we get into it in a second of all time for at least for me.
Okay.
So
All
yeah.
right.
So definite thumbs up week for me. So let's get right into the picks, Heather. Unless there's something you really want to put out there that you've been watching. I just started getting into American Primeval on Netflix, which I've been hearing a lot about. It's about the American West. Very intrigued, and so far so good. I'm only like on the first episode, y'all, so I'm sorry. We'll get into it more later when I watch more. But I dig it, and I've been hearing a lot of fuss about it. So checking that out. Finished off Squid Game season two. Dying for season the rest of the season, or is it going to be part two to season
To be
two, or is it three?
part two, I believe it's summer of 2025. So it'll be curious. I don't know if we're gonna have a review on it. Maybe we will at least chat on it here. I had some thoughts about this one. It was a very different watch. But yeah, I believe summer 2025 is what we're looking for Squid Game part two or Squid Game 2 part 2.
Okay, cool. Yeah, maybe we can do like a recap of just we won't do individual episodes. We'll do an entire season two recap maybe because
Yeah.
I am intrigued on your thoughts as well.
Mhm.
So yeah. But did you have anything before we get into it, Heather?
No, not really. School started. So for those of you who need to go to school, who are doing school, who are doing anything, even the people in the on the Eastern Seaboard who have been just stuck at home, kids got an extra full week of holiday break here. But so if you are going to school, rock on, live your life, do your thing, watch what you can where you can.
Definitely agree.
I do have my first interview of the year. It will be, I don't know if it's up yet. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I'm on my backlog. I'm sorry. Been
No, it's
busy.
okay. Lady of the Lake, which is a documentary from a horror movie writer. He was actually not expecting it to be by Ryan Grulick. It was actually supposed to be a three-part horror series that unfortunately during COVID, their funding went flat. So they decided to do this story. It was actually a really beautiful story. I was really surprised. We've done a lot here. And I actually said this in the interview. I was just like, I'm so sorry. This is going to sound awful. We do a lot of indie work here and we really love to support them. But unfortunately, with indie money, your chances of good filmage, it can really waffle. But this film they did amazing work on their budget. I was really blown away by it. So Lady of the Lake, it's available on digital. Definitely check it out. It's a beautiful true crime story. It also kind of dips into the paranormal and the occult. And actually, one of the wonderful things him and I got to talk about is occult is history. Paranormal is history. Don't just negate it because someone wears a lot of black and they like to talk about ghosts. This is our history and we don't want to know where it comes from. So my first interview is up. Yay!
I love it. Congratulations. And I'll have it up, y'all. We actually have a backlog, but I was on vacation and I've got some stuff to get up. I'll have it up. But definitely go check that out once I have that up from Heather. She told me about the series as well. I'm looking forward to catching up with that. That actually made me realize I got a couple things I want to promote too, real quick, Heather, if you don't mind.
Do it.
My first interview of the year was with the star who's up for Best Young Actor from Blitz, Elliot Heffernan. Another great film that's out there that's on Apple TV Plus. He co-stars with Cerise Ronan. Great little film about the people escaping from London during the war. And he's amazing in that. So check out that interview with Elliot. I recently interviewed for my second interview of the year, Christopher Cantwell, for an upcoming comic that he's doing with Tyler Crook called Escape from Alcatraz. It's coming out from Oni Press. Great conversation with him. We kind of talked about our own theories from the three prisoners that, were foretold that escaped from Alcatraz back in the day, and how he always had these theories, and now he got to do it in comic book form. It was actually part of a pitch that he was trying to do because he's also a filmmaker. He's a showrunner on The Terror on AMC. So great conversation with Cantwell, and we talked about our love for Tyler, his collaborator, who does some great painted artwork on Alcatraz. I think you'll love it, Heather. I think it's a great series. I got the chance to read issue 1 and 2. Actually, I think I sent it to you. If you haven't read it yet, go check it out.
I love for those who don't. Tyler Crook is one of my favorite artists. He did Harrow
He's
County.
amazing.
Fun. I actually have been trying to get some of his art to own for myself for a long time, and it's not that it's expensive. It's just that I'm broke. So advertisers, come on, come at us. Eggs are too expensive, like the Republicans like to scream. So,
but great series, Heather, and great time talking with him. Yeah, he was lovely. He was lovely. So check that out. And you talked a little bit about this. I haven't read the article yet, but because people know we started as comics, I'd be remiss if we didn't, for those that may not be aware, Neil Gaiman. A lot of us grew up on him, but all your heroes eventually become villains, y'all, or at least you find out that they've always been villains this whole time. I don't know if you wanted to make a statement on that. I saw you got some posts about that, but I know there's a lot of other people that grew up on Gaiman. I grew up on him. I heard the rumblings as a convention goer, as a professional as well, but now things are coming to light. And I think you just made a good statement. That I don't know if you just want to share that, Heather, but a lot of us are kind of like the world is ending as we know, and now we see things with Gaiman. Diamond Distributors is gone bankrupt. I felt that was happening. I think as well. We all felt that was going to be bound to happen sooner or later. Anything you want to talk on that? Just I guess that's a lot there.
Sure. So when it comes to Neil Gaiman, there's a lot of people, including myself. I have a very, very, very deep connection with his work, like many people do. Many comics creatives who grew up on his work, people in retail like myself. That is who we are. That's where we started. We listened to his lectures. We did his master classes. We did all these things that surrounded ourselves with his work because he was known to create canon, to build canon, to grow stories. I have one of the hardest things that it is now. My best friend passed away in 2017. I have his collection of hardcovers for Sandman. They are individually signed by Neil Gaiman because he spent a lot of money on Heroes Initiative. If you don't know what Heroes Initiative is, it is an incredible organization that supports creatives during their hard times because they don't have insurance. They're all independent workers. So it's a great organization, and my best friend spent thousands of dollars to get like time with Neil Gaiman. So I have like art from him in these books, and I got them when he passed away, and so it really, really hurts to know that someone so important to him, to my best friend, is now just, it's garbage. And that's the thing. It's one thing we have to acknowledge is that this was an open secret. This was not necessarily hidden, but many fans did not know, and it hurts the most. What I had to say about the article was very simple. The Vulture article is incredibly provocative. It is incredibly harrowing. There are some incredible survivors who are telling their stories, who are being strong enough to tell their stories. But it is a difficult read. It is a triggering read. If you cannot read it, if you need time to read it, if you need to take breaks while you're reading it, it is okay. You are not weird. You do not feel forced. Do not feel required. Listen to the conversation. That's okay. I read most of it and then I had to stop because it was just so heavy. So I'll get back to it, but that's okay. If you can't read it, you can't read it. Do not force yourself. It is difficult, but just acknowledge what is happening. That is the most important thing. when it comes to your collection, I'm not getting rid of my best friend's collection. That was his lifeblood, and I'm not going to get rid of it. And it's really important. And there's also a whole bunch of other creatives in Sandman that deserve your time, that deserve your love. And so I'm not going to get rid of that collection. You do not have to get rid of your collection. But if you feel obligated, please donate the books, because there are options. Please, or burn them. It's up to you, really. I shouldn't say donate them. One really awful thing is Neil Gaiman is a huge proponent, has always been a huge proponent of libraries. So definitely check in on your librarian friends, by the way, right now, because they are probably hurting some of the hardest. But don't force yourself to do too much. This is your love. This is your time. This is what you grew up with. This is what became your passion. Many people in the comics industry fell in love with comics specifically because of Neil Gaiman. So yeah, there's my spiel. Do what you need to. When it comes to the Diamond Chapter 11, as a retailer, as people like KAYFABEYBABY in the industry, most of us saw this, especially when the distribution centers when they decided to consolidate distribution centers. Many comic stores on the East Coast have not received comics on time in 4 months. 4 months. If at all. There are some stores that hadn't received comics for up to 6 weeks prior to the holidays. So this was expected. A lot of people were thinking it was going to be spring, but the good news is a little bit. Diamond did get the money they needed funded, so they will continue working until they can. Alliance Games is in the same boat because it does belong to Diamond. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask below. I'm happy to talk you through it. I don't want to get too much into it here. Just know that your comic shops do deserve your time. Please support them. There are other comics distributors now, but the biggest thing is please, please, please continue to go to your comic book stores, support them, buy games, buy books, buy what you can, because they are going to be far more impacted than Diamond themselves. So.
Well said, Heather. Thank you. It's part of our world. And I know we have a lot of friends and family that are involved in all of these different things. It's been a sad batch of weeks to kick off this year. With the fires, I think I told you I might have talked to you about this, but about 5 friends that lost their homes, lost everything. Terrible. And then not to mention some of the interviews I'm sure you and I have done in recent weeks, after the fact, but also just thinking about all the interviews we've done in the past year of all of these LA-based people that were living in these areas. And now that home that we saw in their backdrop as they were talking to us is now longer than when I thought like that. I was like, it was breaking my heart, just breaking my heart. Just feel so sad. But just think of your fellow man, y'all, woman, entity, being, think of your fellow beings and just help and hold them all up, with everything that's occurring in the world. It's crazy right now. So I just want to, just put some attention to that. But we have some escapist entertainment to get to. And again, like I said earlier, it's a great week in entertainment if you want to head out to the theaters. So you ready to get to it, Heather?
Sure.
All right. We have a film called Better Man. Although when you watch this, it's a monkey. It's a monkey. Don't understand. I still don't understand. But it's a monkey. Here we go.
I'm Robbie Williams. I'm one of the biggest pop stars in the world. This is my story, but I'm not going to tell it in an ordinary way because I don't see myself how others see me.
For the next 2 hours, your ass is mine!
To be honest, I've always been a little less evolved. I don't want to rock, so let's take it from the top, shall we?
I sit and wait.
My dad was well enamored by the stars of the day.
You can't learn it. You're either born with it, or you're a nobody.
There's an angel.
Don't want to be a nobody.
Contemplate my fate.
You're enough.
The places where we go when we're gray and old.
You got in? You're in that band?
Take that! I'll give you fucking baby! Shut up, you tit!
Oh, fuck off, Glenn!
Mother!
Look
around the table. In 5 years, we're all going to hate each other. But we'll be rich.
Do I look like a pop star to you?
I wouldn't change your hair on your head.
And through it all, she offers me protection.
I want to prove I can make it on my own.
Proof to who?
Everyone.
And down the waterfall, wherever it may take me.
Songs are only valuable if they cost you something.
If you're gonna laugh, do it on the inside, yeah?
I know that life won't break me.
I don't give a fuck what they think.
You give a fuck what everyone thinks.
Remember, I believe in you.
Through it all.
So, the story starts.
I'm loving angels instead.
All right. I'll say this. Wicked is the musical of last year. Wicked is definitely the musical of last year. I haven't seen Emily Perez yet, but I've been, they're winning a bunch of awards already, as of this recording in this award season. Definitely going to look at that. But having not seen that yet, this film, I have to say, Better Man is, if Wicked didn't come out, would have been the best musical of the year. Great film. I didn't realize how much I enjoyed Robbie Williams' music, and I grew up, during that time period. Spice Girls, Take That, some of the other Brit bands. Prodigy came out during that time. I think Offspring, because there's like a thing with, there's a whole thing with him, it was Offspring. Oasis. It was Oasis. Oasis, because there's a thing, I don't want to spoil for the film. But Robbie Williams, man, the Brit invasion has always happened. And Robbie Williams was one of those guys. And a great film, great musical, some wonderful musical numbers. Just loved everything about it. The only thing weird about it is the fact that he's a chimpanzee, as you saw from that the whole time. No explanation. But Robbie likes to be different. And I gotta say, the CGI, because he's a monkey, looks great. There's emotion there, all of that. A great film. Highly recommend Better Man. What do you think, Heather?
I'm actually really excited for it. I love musicals. They're my jam. We say Wicked is last year's film, but of course, Wicked Part 2 is still coming this year, so we'll see what happens. But I love musicals. I think they're a really fun way to tell a story, especially one that's hard, one that is really personal. Letting yourself kind of have a little bit of a freak flag fly through a musical is great. At the same time, we've also seen some really crazy biopic musicals. But I don't know. I like them. I think they're fun. I'm really excited for this movie. I was so confused at the initial trailers for this film. So I was like, what the f- is happening?
Yeah.
But once you get the context and you understand what's going on, it looks like a lot of fun. So I'm really excited to watch it.
Were you a fan of the Spice Girls back then? Oasis?
Have
you heard of Robbie Williams in his music?
I am a 90s child. I am a 90s female. Okay. Spice Girls were a required thing. It wasn't. Okay. I wasn't that I had the option. I was just required. So
Robbie. You remember?
I do. Yeah. I there's actually a really Dark Side of the 90s. There's actually a really good episode about the Spice Girls and like the crap that they both brought on, and it's. Go watch it if you. I know this isn't included, but definitely go watch Dark Side of the 90s Spice Girls and learn about some of the Britpop stuff. Like it's interesting. It's very fascinating. So.
I'm gonna have to check that out. The Dark Side series, if you will, is like a guilty pleasure.
I love that series. The new season just came out, and it's actually what's interesting about the new season is that because the 90s is they kind of got it all in like the first two seasons. They're expanding. So this is like the end of the 80s into the early 2000s is Dark Side of the 90s season 3. But yeah, definitely go check that out if you haven't. It's a great series. Definitely. To tag
in. Love it. Yeah, definitely a vibe. All right. Speaking of when you don't have a good vibe, and it's one of them days, SZA and Keke Palmer
I want to watch this movie so bad.
That I had the pleasure of checking out, and I'll talk a little bit about it in a bit. Here we go.
Watching all of y'all go up there, see this. So jealous.
I'm sorry. I had to get a jump from Shamika. Then they had a checkpoint in La Brea. I had to go all the way around. Don't forget, I have my interview at 4. Why are you still trying to be in corporate? Do your own thing. And what's that? Living paycheck to paycheck? You got this, okay? You been that girl. Been that girl.
That my best friend. She a real bad
girl. You know we getting a white person in the jungle.
I am right here if you guys ever want to have a girls' night. A little Prosecco and pals.
Child, I saw one with a cat in a stroller.
Mama rules. You paid the rent, right? I did. Hey, what, motherfucker? Oh, you look real alopecia today.
Do you have the rent?
Your boyfriend took our rent money and dipped.
I invested. This is our future.
Come on, man. If we don't get the rent money by 6, we're gonna be on a curb with Fabian.
You want to buy my grandma's vintage speaker?
And your grandma just died. She ain't even in the ground yet. How we gonna make $1,500 by 6? Not to mention I got the interview at 4.
Don't do it. It's a trap.
You want a loan?
If you don't have the money this month, you're not gonna have it next month.
My credit score is currently a little... Are you having a heart attack? I've never seen a credit score this low. You lucky she holding me back. You lucky she holding me back. If I get this job, you and me gonna be good. For real. You don't have to live like this anymore. You got this. Alyssa, get down. Someone threw retro Jordans up here. You know how much that's worth? Be careful. Oh my God, bitch, I thought I killed you. We need our money. ASAP. Come on. Let's talk about how they running business. And they Answer. First the rent, and now Lolo's trying to kill us.
We actually can pay you $70 per pint.
Okay. Take it easy on me, because news make me squeamish.
Join the club, girl. Today's my first day.
Ow! Fuck! Did we still get the money? You find yourself struggling to procure payment funds. Here are a few useful ideas.
Please get out. Please check yourself.
All right, one of them days, Keke Palmer, SZA. Yeah, a cute little comedy. SZA, I think this is her like debut as an actor, and one of the things I was slightly nervous about going into it, and I gotta say, pleasantly surprised she pulled it off. Her and Keke had just great chemistry. This is a film about sisterhood, about friendship. And my friend Ashley, shout out to our pal Ashley Saunders, she dubbed it the Female Friday. Take away Chris Tucker and Ice Cube, and it's kind of a Female Friday, I guess that. But I think more, there's a different relationship that women I think have more than men, you know, and their that we see visually and in their communication. So I think there's a slight difference there, but I can see kind of just like that friendship, you know, type of thing. But I think we get different elements when you see like a film led by two women that are friends than a film with two men that are friends and stuff. But I enjoyed this. Maud Apatow, who we saw in the trailer as the white girl that moves in, some great moments with her. Cat Williams, as you saw throughout that, some great moments there. I'll probably have a review with some of my pals that I saw it with. I wish Heather could have been, but again, the places they have a screen is at, sometimes Heather can't always make it. But this is a cool one. It's a cool little comedy vibe.
I don't know. It seems a lot more Thelma and Louise without the, you know, devastating ending for me. But I don't know. That's what it kind of reminded me of. I'm so excited for this movie. It looks like so much fun.
It's cute.
I mean, Keke Palmer she's just a blast to watch in almost everything she does, no matter if it's horror, suspense, or comedy. She's just a blast to watch, and I'm looking forward to this. I didn't know Apatow's kids were in film already, like crazy.
Yeah. And good too, and good.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to this. And by the way, those quick cash, quick loan places are huge scams. Please do not get stuck in them ever. They are dangerous, and they can do a lot of real bad damage to you financially. So agree. Yeah. Don't get stuck in those.
And don't find that commercial with your boy who was in one way back when he was an actor.
Oh.
Have you ever seen my Cash Point commercial, Heather?
No.
Everybody's seen it. Yeah, I was a waiter.
Oh.
I was in a commercial for one of those joints, a company called Cash Point, and as a waiter, I couldn't make my bill, so I went to Cash Point and got the money I needed without a credit check.
Well,
That
you
was like
got
one of my
canceled.
first viral things for me before viral was viral. Like,
Oh,
dude,
okay.
aren't you the guy from the Cash Point commercial?
I bet I have seen it and I just didn't know it was you, to be fair. You got old, so
I did get old, and I had hair in that commercial, so yes.
whenever
All right,
you with
Heather.
hair, I never believe it's you. Like you showed me something, I'm like, that ain't you. That ain't fucking you.
All right, next up, as I was talking about a genre type film, let's get into The Wolfman from Universal. Here we go.
God damn it, I want to see this movie. Damn it. You look so fucking good.
Ginger? Ginger, are you okay? Look at me. Look at me. So, are you hurt? Are you hurt? Are you okay? Hey, we gotta get out of this thing. Hey, no. Don't move. Climb up through the window right there. You can do it. You'll be okay. You okay? We have to leave right now. Run.
Hello? Can anyone hear me? Hello? We were in an accident.
Daddy, are we gonna die?
No, it's my job to protect you.
And we were attacked. I think my husband was infected. Mike.
Daddy?
What's wrong with
Daddy?
He got sick.
What is happening to me?
Can you understand me? You're scaring me.
Back off! Please, Daddy, it's me. Hurry, Mommy, he's coming.
Come on.
All right, coming to IMAX this week, Wolfman. I have to say, initially, of the films I was watching this week, this one I was worried about the most when I screened it, and boy, was I pleasantly surprised. I'll have a full review up. I'll probably have Anthony with me and some other friends that screened it. Again, I wish Heather could have joined me, but it was screened at the one we hate the most farthest away from us. But I made the trek. But this time I think I earned that trek because this was a great one. I'll talk more, but I just noticed some things. I got to tell you, Heather. You know how like we talk about they do certain things different in the trailer, or they film something specific than what you actually see in the film. I just noticed a few things as I was watching that trailer. Since I just saw it last night that they filmed that. That's different. But yeah, practical effects. Just I cared about every character in that film, man, and I generally don't feel that way in a lot of horror films. And yeah, probably one of the top horror werewolf films for me of all time. In my top 3, if not fighting for number 1 against what would I say? American Werewolf in London comes to mind when I think of werewolf films.
American Werewolf in London
and
is
Howling,
the best
Howling,
one. Howling is good.
And Wolfman, the original Wolfman.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is for those who have questions. This is technically a reboot a new version of the original 1941 Wolfman. And that's one of the, according to Blumhouse, there's a reason that practical effects were so important in this film. They wanted to make it as much of a feeling of connectivity as the original. And so honestly, this was, I would say, of like, there's probably 25 films that I'm really excited for this year. Wolfman was one of the ones that I was super, super excited for because I love Blumhouse. I mean, we've talked about, I think we've sang their prayers or sang their blessings like a bazillion
They have
times.
had some duds. They have had some duds. But this one is a definite winner, at least for me. And I can't wait for you to see it and tell me what you think too, Heather.
What I would have loved to do is I would love to have sat there and talked like we did with Nosferatu, where Anthony and I were just talking about the old shit for 20 minutes. And then,
Yeah.
but I really look forward to this. I can't wait to see it. Blumhouse is really good, guys. If for accessibility, they are really good at getting their films on digital really, really quick. And that's also what's really cool. If you ever connected to Shudder, they get most of their shit out real quick. Even the crappy stuff that Blumhouse is doing on purpose because they like to make crappy films sometimes. But I want to see this movie so bad. This movie so good.
Can't wait for you to see it, and definitely not one of the crappy ones, y'all. I was ready for it to be crappy. I was like, oh, okay, it's an early film of the year type movie, horror. I think Night Swim was like the one that they did last year, and that was horrible. Although I haven't seen it, to be honest. I was supposed to go to that screening, I didn't make it, and I just didn't get around to watching Night Swim. But everybody I've talked to is like, Night Swim is horrible. Have you seen Night Swim?
No, I have not.
Okay, I've heard it's horrible, but I kind of want, because it's still a Blumhouse movie. But this one. Man, just chef's kiss. Good stuff. All right. Last film. And again, I think it's a wonderful week. This film is being looked at for a bunch of noms. I would actually have given it a nom as well. But there was just so many other films in my priority list. But a great film nonetheless. And we've seen a lot of stories about Munich and what happened at the Munich Olympics way back when that it was the first time they televised a terrorist attack like this. It's called September 5. Let's take a look at it.
Ready, camera. Hit it.
Good morning. I'm Jim McKay speaking to you live from the Olympics in Munich, West Germany.
Talk me through the day.
Starts with volleyball, then there's boxing.
Good. It's America versus Cuba.
Sure you want to bring in the politics?
It's not about politics. It's about emotions.
And we're clear. Great job, everyone.
Do you hear that?
Were those gunshots?
What's the situation?
The police are reporting that armed terrorists have attacked the Israeli athletes.
There's a hostage situation going on right now in the Olympic Village.
ABC wants news to take over.
Your sports, you're in way over your head.
400 yards away from where this is happening.
We are the only people capable of following it live. This is our story, and we're keeping it.
What do I tell the cameras?
What do you mean?
I mean, can we show someone being shot on live television?
We're on. The peace of what have been called the Serene Olympics was shattered this morning. The games are still going on. Within a few hundred yards, 9 terrified living human beings are being held prisoner.
You need to understand how sensitive this situation is.
These are just local cops doing things they have never done before.
We'll make it broadcast history. More people have seen this than watch Armstrong land on the moon.
Now, police are on the roof.
Oh, guys.
That's a TV. Are they seeing what we're seeing?
What are you talking about?
Are the terrorists seeing this?
Our job is to tell the stories of these individuals whose lives are at stake.
It's not okay if we made it worse.
Cameras on. It's a madhouse down here.
They know the whole world is watching. If they shoot someone on live television, whose story is that? Is it ours or is it theirs?
All right, there you go. It's gripping. It's intense. It's a thrill ride. I love when they do films on historical events and stuff like that, and if they get it right and everybody involved, and also showing a different perspective. Again, there's been a lot of films about. There was a film called Munich. I think was Spielberg did Munich.
Spielberg. Yep.
But and other films about this event, because it was the first time they televised a national terrorist situation or international terrorist situation, and it made the way news reporting was conducted, as you saw. They were being tipped off of everything because the bad guys were watching the same thing. It's an important film in seeing this perspective, the focus. Like, if you've seen Munich, you can see this one because this is giving you the perspective of the press side of things. It's just a great film. Really enjoyed it. Well acted, just brilliant, and a thrill ride. So there you go. What do you think of September 5, Heather?
I didn't even know about this movie. I wish I knew about it earlier. It looks really good. Looks really interesting. It's always, as you said, it's always great to see that there are many people involved in these situations. We don't get such detail from just one person or from a few people in a documentary. We get every angle from everywhere. And for those of you who are true crime buffs, it basically all started with the live screening of the Munich event. So, I mean, yes, we do have things like the courtroom TV and stuff like that, but where true crime and interest in the livelihoods of not only victims but of villains, it really all truly started with Munich, and it's fascinating. This story is very interesting. I've seen Munich before a couple times. I'm curious. I'm very curious to see it. We're getting a lot more of these kind of style biopics where it's kind of entertainment based, which is interesting to me. Like, this is a very different film, but I'm just going to give the example. Saturday Night is a really good reference to this, where we're getting the kind of the more entertaining element of it versus just this is the bad shit that happened. We're telling you the story about the people and what's going on, and some of it's a lot more different than just the victims and the terrorists. And I find that interesting that we're getting more of that right now.
Gotcha. Agreed. You saw Saturday Night? Did you see Saturday Night?
Not yet. My husband's making me wait until he can watch it, but don't worry.
Okay, that's another to do, Heather. Because that's a great film. That's what gave real quick. I'm sorry. When I was doing like best cast, overall cast, September 5th has amazing. There's a Skarsgård in there. You gotta have a Skarsgård.
Gotta have a Skarsgård.
But just as you saw from the trailer just now, amazing cast. But I gave the nod to Saturday Night because they nailed it. Personally, I feel, with everybody that they cast in all the very prominent roles for SNL with Saturday Night. Loved that cast. So anyway, just I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts on Saturday Night, and hopefully September 5 as well. Totally two different films, comedy, drama, but a great project with this one, I think, as well.
It's just a very interesting way that we're doing biopics now, because in the past they've been very dry. Like, I'm going to use Munich as an example. It's a very dry film. It's a very important film, but it's a very dry film. Looking at it from a more dynamic perspective of different people's purviews is a very interesting thing to do. But what I will say about reviews, by the way, KAYFABEYBABY, I'm watching 1.5 billion movies, and so expect a shit ton of stuff from KAYFABEYBABY and I between like the end of January and the beginning of February. It's just, y'all are going to see way too many reviews all of a sudden come out. Just going to tell you right now.
But it'll be fun conversations. Well, and we won't go too long because they have been out for a while, but just some quick thoughts because it's fun and it's content, y'all, too. And it also helps us get these other future gigs with these studios. They want to see us talking about the films, too. So we do that for that work as well. Anyway, yeah, there you go. Better Man, One of Them Days, Wolfman, September 5. As I started off, I'm calling it a thumbs up week, at least for me. Heather, are you giving it?
You made me, I was putting on my skepticals because I didn't believe you, but no, this is a very good, solid first like full week of entertainment. And I do want to kind of sideline the thumbs up with, for those of y'all who keep screaming about all of the rich people are losing their homes, please remember that most of LA is not rich. They just are barely getting by. Even if you make $100,000, that's like barely getting by money there. So please be aware that when we have entertainment created by people who are living and who are being impacted by the fires. And much like the Writers Guild, when the writers went on strike, we might see a very long period of no content or repeat content. Not anytime soon, because the good news is we have content that's already created. Basically, what was filmed in 2022 to 2024 is going to come out this year. But just please be aware that, one, please support where you can, animal shelters, family shelters, fire relief, food trucks, everyone you can. Please, if you have the money to do so, please give something. Please donate something where you can. But please also be cognizant that we have some really, really cool entertainment right now, but we might have a little bit of a dry spell coming because of those impacted by these fires. So from our family here to the families there, we appreciate the incredible work that people in LA have done. We have been lucky enough to live and be supported by that. So with that being said, great thumbs up, great first week. And we are so lucky to have that from the amazing people that are working really hard to protect others and help others.
Well said. Heather just dropped the mic right there. I'm gonna leave it alone. Thank you so much, Heather. Always a pleasure. Looking forward to talking about these projects and all the other projects we're gonna get to. And again, our thoughts and prayers and love to everyone out there. There's a lot of suffering all over the world, but specifically right now, due to a lot of the friends and family we know in LA, with everything going on with that. So there you go. The amazing Heather Hurt. I'm KAYFABEYBABY. Nerds Rule the World. Let's chat all things in the description below right there. And until next time, peace, y'all.